Elci, you're looking so beautiful today.
You too. I
love that shirt on you. That shirt is amazing.
Yes, your countries, right? You chose for me.
And I shaved today a little bit. I took off these sides. I got rid of the mustache. I shortened the beard. All for Elci. So today we're going to make a vlog, and we're going to answer a question that somebody asked us here on YouTube, and that was, how far does 2,000 American dollars go in terms of living expenses and budgeting and all that here in Bahia, Brazil? So that's what this vlog is all about. Let's go. So let's start with rent. Elci, we lived in Ilhéus for like a year and a half, right? We were paying rent to Marcelo,
yes.
Right? Do you remember how much we were paying in reais every month?
2,000.
2,000 reais. So 2,000 reais, if you divide that by 5, that's $400 US. And why don't you describe a little bit about the apartment? How many bedrooms did we have?
We had 3 bedrooms.
And we had how many bathrooms? Full bathrooms?
3.
Right. And how many balconies did we have?
2.
And you know, it was a modern apartment within walking distance of 2 beaches, walking distance to a lot of shopping and all that. So it was a really nice place for $400. 400 times 5 is 2,000 reais. That is rent. All right, let's talk about water and electric. How much were we paying for the 2 of us in Ilhéus?
It was around 300.
300 reais.
Yes.
Okay, so if you divide 300 by 5, that is 60 US dollars for water and electric for the entire month for the 2 of us. Next we talk about something that none of us can live without, which is internet. Right? How much were we paying per month for internet?
It was like 170.
Let's say 200.
Yes.
Let's say 200 reais, but it's rounded up, right?
Yep.
So 200 reais divided by 5 is 40 US dollars. That's what we're paying, and it was a pretty good internet. You know, we were streaming Netflix all the time. We were uploading our videos all the time, and it was good internet for 40 US dollars per month. Now here's another thing that nobody can live without these days, and that's having cell phones, right?
Yes.
So how much were we paying per month for both of us in Ilhéus? 300 reais.
Yeah.
And we're still paying that here while we now live away from Ilhéus. We still have the same plan. 300 reais is 60 US dollars for both of us. But Elci reminds me that it's a family plan, right?
Yeah, we can add more people.
So we can add more. So if we had young children or something like that, we could add them to the plan as well. So 60 US dollars for both of us, family plan, and it's unlimited, right?
Yes.
I mean, there's no restriction on how many calls you can make and this and that. So
Yeah.
that's the cell phone plan. So let's move on to the next thing now. Okay, now we talk about our amazing breakfast that we have every day, right? Elci, where do we go for breakfast every day pretty much these days?
We go to a hotel. They have a very good
Breakfast buffet.
Yeah, buffet with big variety of all kinds of healthy stuff, you know.
From fruits and yogurts to cereals, sugar-free cereals, eggs, all kinds of stuff. And the hotel is not too far from where we live, and I'm going to actually read it to you from my cell phone here because it's a list. It's an unlimited, you can eat unlimited amount of breakfast that you can eat buffet, and it costs 5 US dollars per person. 5 times 5 is 25 reais. So for the both of us, we pay 50 reais, which is $10, and we get fresh fruits, eggs, bread, cold cuts, juices, coffee, tea, cakes, cereals, etc. So for the both of us, we pay 750 reais for the month, which amounts to about 150 US dollars for unlimited daily breakfast that we start our day with, right?
And then they have a big list of bakery stuff, very delicious. It's just because we are avoiding gluten, but if for you guys that like, it has this plus, right? A big variety of breads, cookies, all kinds of nice flavored food.
Now, every hotel obviously has a different type of breakfast buffet. This is the hotel that we go to, which is close to where we live. So depending on where you are, things would differ. But generally speaking, that's the price for unlimited breakfast for both of us. So the next thing we're going to talk about is if we were to eat lunch every day outside at a restaurant or a hotel, which is not the case. We eat lunch many times at home because Elci loves to cook and she's an excellent cook. But if you don't like to cook, Elci is going to talk to you about what the Kilo restaurant concept is. So Elci, tell them about what the Kilo restaurant is.
Yeah, so they have a big display with different kinds of vegetables for you to make your salad, right? You mount with the ingredients you prefer, and then they have rice and pasta and like a big variety of meats, different kinds of meats, and
Fish.
cooked vegetables and fish include meat, right? For
Yeah.
me, meat is like all animals. So if you're vegetarian, you have a lot of options. If you're not, same thing. So I like that way because then you can mount your own plate, right? You don't have to have some ingredients you don't like and things like that. I like the
So it's like a long buffet and you can basically make your own plate
Yeah.
with anything you want, whether it's salads, fruits, rice, pasta, meats, fish, shrimp, whatever. And at the end of the buffet line, you've got a cashier sitting there with a weighing machine, right?
yeah.
And to me in the beginning, this was like an interesting concept, but I've come to love it because they then weigh your plate minus the weight of the plate, because they weigh the plate at the beginning of the lunch hour, so the weighing device knows what the weight of the plate itself is. So you're only paying for whatever is on top of the plate. And for that, generally speaking, the price is about roughly 50 reais on average for each person. So that's 50 reais is $10 for me, $10 for Elci. So that's $20 per day, US dollars, for a really piled up plate from a Kilo restaurant. Now you multiply $20 by the entire month. So if two people watching this, let's say it's a couple, were to eat out every day from a delicious Kilo restaurant buffet, you're going to end up paying 20 times 30, which is 600 US dollars.
Yeah, but they have the other option, right? That is called prato feito or quentinha. Some people say quentinha. If you're gonna take home, it comes in that foam.
The foam thingy, the foam thingy.
Yeah.
The
So
foam
you-
container.
Yeah, so you prepare your plate and you cover and you take home. But the prato feito is like 30 reais, just 30 or less, because it's as much food as you can fit on the plate, and two different kinds of meat, right? You choose, you pick the two that you want, and they will charge you just 30 for that plate.
30 reais.
Yes, or in that that lady Nisi, Restaurante da Nisi, is a girl. She prepares different flavors too, and you can find even for 23 reais, really cheap, and it's a nice
Which
plate.
is like $5 US dollars. So
Yeah.
23 reais is $5 US dollars. She will prepare the plate for you.
Yes.
And then that's the limitation. It's not like your own choice.
Yeah.
But for your own choice, you pay double the amount. If the restaurant owner prepares it for you, it's half the price.
But you still can pick in a list, right? Okay, I want a grilled chicken, or I want meat, dry meat, or I want, So you choose the meat that you want, and she has the sides, like what comes with that meat, and then you can have this plate.
So bottom line, a couple like us can eat daily lunch at a restaurant here, whether it's prato fritto, feito, prepared by the owner of the restaurant, where things are limited, to where you mount your own plate yourself. And that budget ranges anywhere for two people for the entire month from 300 US dollars to 600 US dollars, right? So we've talked about how you can never have to cook breakfast. Now we've talked about how you don't have to worry about cooking lunch. Let's talk about the next thing. Now, since Elci is responsible for the kitchen in our house, I'll let her explain to you all about groceries and how much we spend for both of us per month on groceries.
Yeah, it depends a lot about what you buy, right? If you buy more meat, that is more expensive, or industrial, like things already made, it's more. But medium, right? If you have a balance between like vegetables and fruits and raw stuff and things that are already prepared, you can pay 1,000 for each person.
1,000
more
reais.
or less, yes.
Which is $200
Yes.
per person.
And you can have groceries for the month, but not, you know, not exaggerated, right?
Yeah, so a middle of the line grocery bill for 2 people would be $400 per month, which is 2,000 reais, right? So that covers groceries. So now let's talk about eating out for dinner, let's say. Now again, we don't eat out all the time for dinner, we eat a lot at home, but let's take a simple example like, say, pizza, right? So Elci, when we go out for pizza, if we order a large pizza that's sufficient for both of us, how much do we pay in reais?
It's between like 60 and 80 reais, something
All
like
right,
that.
so it's 60 to 80 reais is anywhere from 12 to 16 US dollars for a large pizza that's good enough for a couple. So now you have an idea of what it costs to have dinner if you would eat pizzas for the entire month.
That's not a good choice, but
Yeah, that's not a good thing to do, but if you were to, right? The kilo restaurants, by the way, are normally just good for lunch. For dinner, people switch to a la carte, which is a much pricier kind of setup, but then you pay for whatever you choose on the menu, right? Okay, now since I do all the driving, I'll talk to you about the gasoline prices here. Gasoline is widely available, obviously. Brazil is a big country, and here things are sold by the liter because it's the metric system. So 1 liter is $1.30 US dollars, $1.30 per liter. That's roughly about 6 reais for 1 liter, which equates to about $5 US dollars per US gallon, because a liter is 3.5 liters or something, maybe 4 liters make 1 gallon. So $5 US dollars per gallon of gasoline for your motorcycle or your car or combi, or like we drive, or something like that. So now we're going to talk about public transportation from where we live to get to the nearest city, which is Ilhéus. And there are 2 types of buses: the yellow simple bus and gray-blue executive air-conditioned bus. And Elci's going to tell you the price for each.
yeah. So for the Rota bus, if we get the better version, that is air conditioner, comfortable seats, it's like 13 reais. Around 27 kilometers that we drive.
Which is about 17 miles.
Yeah.
So that's about 15 reais, you said?
13, 15.
13, 15, something like that,
Yeah.
okay. And you divide that by 5 and you get the number in US dollars.
Yes. And then there is another one, more simple, that we call coletivo. And they charge 4 reais to
Which
do
is-
the same distance.
Which is less than $1. But that is a bus for people on a budget, the yellow bus, right? So you have the range from less than $1 to about $3 to $4, depending on whether you want to ride in a nice air-conditioned bus or a simple bus. So that again gives you an idea of public transportation for 27 kilometers or 17 miles.
Of course, you have the option for Uber, right? You can
Right.
ask for a taxi or Uber. It's very expensive because we don't have in the area.
They have to come from
Taxi stop.
they have to come from a long distance just to
Yeah.
pick us up.
So it's expensive, but you have the option. For example, when Pepi goes to the airport, right, you have to carry a bag and so he calls and they come to pick up and drop there.
And usually we pay about 150 reais. Again, divide that by 5 and you've got your US dollars right there.
So they go.
Right, so my math is so bad, I prefer to not make a mistake. So another thing you can do is you can ask for a,
Carona.
yeah? So
Carona is like
it's
a
like-
big face to say, like, can you please give me a ride?
but then you have to pay people, right? So if let's say
No, Carona is
no,
for
what's
free.
the other one?
The other one is lotação. Lotação is when it's full of people, they don't pick up nobody else. But when it's empty, they accept one more until the 4 passengers, right?
So basically the way that works is you've got somebody driving past you and you're waiting at a bus stop, right? And their car is empty and they participate in this kind of thing. These are like unlicensed cabs.
Yes.
They'll just stop and they'll ask you, what will they say?
They say, where do you go?
Yeah.
And then if you go to Ilhéus,
Yeah.
he says, okay, has one vacation.
He'll tell you how much space he's got in his car,
Yes.
and he will tell you how much it's going to be. Usually cheaper than the buses, so that's an option for you to travel as well, if you're really on a budget, right? Now here's another thing that none of us can live without, and that is fresh drinking water. Now where we live, we have groundwater that's pumped up by a pump,
Água mineral
but we don't.
is the one that we drink. right?
Yeah, but the groundwater that comes out of the ground, we don't drink it. We only use it for laundry, washing dishes, sometimes showering, sometimes filling up the pool, etc. We don't drink it. So for drinking water, we buy these huge bottles, right? You know how many liters is each bottle?
Galão tem 20 litros. 20 liters.
That's it? It seems bigger.
20.
The one you buy from Selene is
Yes.
20 liters? All right. How much do you pay for that one bottle of 20 liters?
Well, we pay 15 reais, but it's included the delivery. So
Okay.
it's a little bit less than that.
So everybody probably would need to have it delivered. So let's say 15 reais. 15 reais is what? $3. My math is so bad.
Not that. You're lazy to think.
I'm just lazy to think. $3 times 5 is 15 reais. So for $3, and how long does that bottle last us for 2 of us?
Well, depend on how much juice we do. How
Yeah, so
much
take a guess.
pasta. So usually maximum 3 days we finish one
One big bottle?
Galão. Because I cook, right? So I put pasta, put water. You know, anything I'm gonna put water, juice.
Elsie, I think
drink.
you're mistaken. That is not a gallon. That is a lot more than a gallon. The big bottles that are sitting on the floor, I'm talking about those bottles.
I know.
It's a gallon?
We drink 2 liters a day if we drink properly, but we're not very good drinkers of water, right?
Right.
So it's like 4 liters or less. So in 3 days, 4 days, we finish.
Here in Brazil, they call the big bottle galon, which sounds like gallon, but it's 2 different things. The amount of water contained in one of these large bottles is roughly 5.5 US gallons. And that's what we pay roughly 16 reais for, right? So now we're going to talk about another thing that falls in Elsie's department, which is natural cooking gas in the kitchen. So Elsie, how big is each cylinder? Can you kind of show people?
Yes, it's like this size
Okay.
and this large.
All right. So that's the size of the natural liquid propane gas. And how much do we pay for each cylinder, which I think lasts us like 2 months or so, right?
Or more.
Or more,
Yeah.
2 or 3 months for 2 people. And how much does that cost?
See, you have already the bottle. You just replace, right? You give the empty one, they give the other one. So you pay for the gas, just the gas. 120 more or less. Reais.
Which is like $25. But in the beginning, you've got to buy the container, right? You have to pay for that. How much is that? Do you
It
know?
would be like 200 something.
200 reais, which is like $35, $40. But once you own the container,
Yeah.
you just swap it out with them and they'll give you a full container of gas. And you're on your merry way for 2 or 3 months. But we eat out quite a bit, so we're not cooking a lot at home.
It's months. Many
For
months.
us, 2-3 months for each container. But if you cook at home all the time, think about that. Maybe every month you're gonna have to change that. So let's move on to the next thing.
For you to use for a month, you have to cook a lot.
Yeah.
Use the stove a lot, you know. It stays for a long time.
So all in all, it is much cheaper to live in a country like Brazil if you're coming from expensive countries like America, North America, for example, or other European countries. Because first, things are much cheaper here, unless you're buying electronics, computers, cameras, cars, because all those items are heavily taxed by the Brazilian government. But besides that, the rent is cheap, utilities are cheap, food is cheap, restaurants are cheap. You get the point, right? So that's the first benefit of coming to these countries like Brazil. The second thing is the US dollar goes 4 or 5 times further. So you benefit from the front end and the back end. You're benefiting from both sides. Your money goes 4 or 5 times further, and things are 2 or 3 times less expensive. So imagine, you couple those things together, you can live a very good life here, as long as you keep yourself in check. You know, if you want to come down here and buy Prada and buy a Lamborghini and buy the latest, greatest things, well, maybe you're better off staying where you currently live.
Yeah,
But
some things here are expensive if you compare, right? As you said about cars, the cars are more expensive here because the taxes are higher for cars,
Yeah.
for electronics, right? For sneakers, some things, you know, it's not so cheap. But the
Right.
things that he told is good.
yeah, so if you're into brand names and stuff like that, then things are going to be expensive here. But there's a lot of knockoff stuff available on the streets. So it looks like a brand name, but it's really not. But don't tell anybody I said that. So that's pretty much how far 2,000 American dollars goes when you live here in Brazil. Hope it was informative and educational for you, and we'll be talking to you in the next video.
Bye. Don't forget to subscribe, to share with your friends, and if you want, you can make some comments. We'll be very happy.
We love to answer comments because then we know people are watching and engaging with us. So please like, share, comment. See you. Bye.